Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. So, it's weird. This shirt is not this color. This camera takes away all yellow. This shirt is like turquoise. It's coming up straight blue. Oh man. I'm lying to you all. You think I'm wearing a blue shirt, but I'm not. I'm catfishing. Alright, we're going to continue with Michael McDonald with his stupid, boring case with lawyers. But that's alright. I think we'll get some better stuff once we get through the stupid, boring case with lawyers. I don't know, though. You guys know.
You recognize that as the screenshot we've been discussing?
That's correct.
So I see that on the screenshot itself, we don't see a date or time, is that correct?
That's correct.
When you survey video as it's unfolding, or when you say the video, does it have date and time?
Typically on this program off to the right side of the screen.
Okay. Is this screenshot, has it been zoomed in?
Correct.
And is that why we don't see a date and time stamp?
That is correct.
And again, I know you testified that this was taken while it was in the Regional Justice Center, but do you recognize the floor pattern specifically depicted there as being that of the Regional Justice Center?
That's correct.
Ugly floor pattern.
Brief indulgence. Nothing further here.
Cross.
No questions.
Questions from the jury? Raise your hand. No questions from the jury. Thank you. You may step down.
Has been in other family court proceedings, not just his own, very frequently in family court. So we anticipate Mr. Spies would testify along the lines of the fact that he's seen Mr. McDonald sort of protesting or being involved with watch groups that are watching and publishing content regarding the family courts.
I was just going to say that. Just because he's in the courthouse doesn't mean nothing. That guy is always in the courthouse. It could be for any of his other criminal cases.
None of that is a bad action.
Or his brothers.
I'm a little concerned, Judge. This is starting to sound an awful lot like we don't like your politics, Mr. McDonald. There's a very specific theory of criminality here. And specifically that he went in on that day to do something illegal. If he's there every single day, how are they going to prove that he went on that particular day to do something illegal?
Yeah, I'm going to allow the officer, so you need to bring him in and talk, or go and talk to him. That he sees him a lot. He's there on other cases. He's there for other reasons, so he recognizes him. But the fact that he's there, I assume outside protesting, I don't see the relevance of that. You want to show, you're allowed to show that he knows who he is and he was there on that date, fine. But I don't see the relevance to whether or not he's protesting, etc.
And Your Honor, I anticipate what the witness would say, they maybe not use the word protesting, but he would say that he's observed the defendant observing other family court cases in addition to this. Is that fine?
That's fine. That he sat through other cases, he's seen him many times sit through all kinds of cases, whatever. But the protest, I don't see any, assuming that's what the characterization is, I don't see any relevance to that. So you can both go and explain that to him.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They see that the parties acknowledge the presence of the jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please call your next witness.
The state calls Timothy Spies.
Schnitzler. Remain standing, face the clerk of the court.
You do solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pain of penalty of perjury.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Will you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Yes, it's Timothy Spies, S-P-I-E-S,
First name, please.
Timothy, P-I-M-O-T-H-Y.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Spies, how are you employed?
I'm employed with the 18th District District Court Marshals as a sergeant at family court.
When you say at family court, is that located at 601 North Pecos?
Correct.
Is that within Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been with the marshals?
Since July of 2014,
So is that, what, 5 years?
just over 5.
And what did you do before your service with the marshals?
I started in law enforcement in 98 with the United States Coast Guard. And in 2002, I was a member of the New York City Police Department. 2007, I was a detective with the College of Southern Nevada Police Department. 2010, I became an international police advisor, where I trained police in Iraq for a year and a half to 2.5 years in Afghanistan.
And in your position as a sergeant with the marshals, specifically over a family court, what are some of your duties?
Security of the courthouse, the people inside. Sometimes I have to run courts, so I pretty much do everything at the courthouse.
When you say run courts, what does that mean?
Work as a courtroom marshal sometimes because we're getting short-handed, so I work inside courts, but my primary duties are the safety and security of the building itself and judicial staff and citizens that enter.
Within your capacity and within those duties that you just described, did you, within the last couple of years, become familiar with a man by the name of Michael McDonald?
Yes, I did.
Do you see that individual in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can
Right
you-
under white shirt, blue and striped tie.
Will the record reflect identification of the defendant, Your Honor?
No, sir, play.
Thank you. If you will briefly, tell us how you became to know or became familiar with the defendant.
I became familiar with the defendant during his divorce case. His divorce judge asked for an extra marshal to be present in the courtroom, and that generally was, I was the only free one, so that generally be me.
Do you know approximately what year, what month that was, how long ago that was?
I want to say around September 2017-ish.
So you've known or been familiar with the defendant for a couple of years now?
Correct.
Okay. And how often do you see him down at family court?
He would be coming into family court a couple times a week, 2-3 times a week, for various reasons.
Okay. Can you give us an example of some of those reasons?
He did a lot of filing of paperwork for his own case. He would come in to observe court proceedings from other cases. So just sitting back of courtrooms, listening to cases.
So fair to say you became quite familiar with the defendant?
Yes.
Were you, I'm going to draw your attention now back to March 13th of 2018, going back a little over a year. Were you on duty at that time, on that day, in family court?
Yes.
And do you recall seeing the defendant on the 13th of March 2018 at family court?
Yes, I did.
And where within the building was he?
He was in our filing room.
Okay, when you say filing room, what does that mean?
It's actually called the reading room. It's a little room next to where the court clerk's windows are, where you have to file all your paperwork for your case. And he was sitting on a computer filing documents.
Specifically, are there multiple computers in that room?
Yes.
Are all of them able to file documents?
No, 3 or 4 you sit at filing documents.
Okay, the one that you saw the defendant sitting at, are you able to file documents from that computer?
Yes.
And approximately what time was this?
Well, he entered the family court a little after 3 o'clock, and I told him he had to leave at 5 o'clock because we were closing.
Briefing vote, please. Do you recall when you approached the defendant at approximately 5, when you were asking him to leave, what he was doing at that time?
He was trying to finish up submitting his documents for his case.
Okay, and how would you know that?
He told me.
Did you see anything that would lead you to believe that he was filing documents?
Yeah, the documents were on the screen, and he said, I just have to submit these, and I'll be out of here. And I stood behind him until he did so.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross,
Nothing further.
questions from the jury?
May I proceed, Your Honor? Good afternoon, Ms. Lee.
Hi,
Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I am the Vice President of Human Resources
For what company?
for a company called Progistics Distribution.
What does Progistics do?
Progistics is a logistics and white glove delivery organization nationwide.
So when you say white glove, that sounds very fancy. What does that mean?
That means we are the ones that if you order, let's say, a bid, we come and we make sure that everything is delivered perfectly for you. So they consider that to be white glove.
I think we all wish more of our deliveries were white glove deliveries.
Sure.
Do you, who are some of your companies that you work for and through?
So one of our projects is the Amazon project, so we do a lot for them as well. We have, I think Creighton Darrell is someone who just came on board with us.
And what is the relationship between a company called the Avitas Group and Progistics?
The VITAS Group is what is known as a PEO. That's a professional employer organization. So they do our payroll as well as our workers' compensation.
But you work for Progistics?
Correct, correct.
Where is Avitas located?
They are located in Montana, Billings, Montana.
Okay, and what about Progistics? Are you only in Las Vegas?
No, no, we have locations from California to Massachusetts. Headquarters is technically in Oakland, California.
And where's the office in Las Vegas?
It's in Henderson at 2270 Corporate Circle, Suite 220.
Is that within Clark County, Nevada?
Yes.
Permission to approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Joint Defense Counsel, proposed exhibit 11. Permission to approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as proposed exhibit 11. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that's the front of our location.
And do you see that sign every day as you go to work?
Every day.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the sign with the address for Progistics in Henderson?
Yes.
Move to admit proposed exhibit 11, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
Would be admitted.
Still a bit boring, classic. Still a bit boring.
Permission to publish?
Yes.
So this has just been admitted as State's Exhibit 11. You said earlier that the address is 2270 Corporate Circle in Henderson. Is that the sign? And 1, 2, 3, 4 down, it says Progistics?
Yes, that's us.
And is that where you physically work every day?
Every day. Yes, it is.
Vice President of Human Relations, can you tell us what some of your duties are?
So Vice President of Human Resources, so I'm responsible for all things employee related. So benefits administration, employee relations, compensation analysis, hiring and termination, workers' compensation, it all falls under my umbrella.
So you get to know most, if not all, of your employees pretty well.
Oh, all of them, from one end of the country to the other, yes.
And at the Henderson location, how many employees are under your purview?
Right now, we have about 60 employees. We've grown up to about 60.
So your role is supervisory over
Well,
these people.
that
They all
has
have
not
their
been
own
proven.
VPs of the particular groups that work in Henderson, and then there are a couple of directors and managers, but I am HR for everything, correct?
And how long have you been working for Progistics?
5.5 years, March of 2014.
Have all of those years been in Henderson or in Las Vegas?
No, I originally started in our Oakland, California office, and then I relocated here January 4th, 2018.
You mentioned now you have about 60 employees. At one point, did you have an employee by the name of Michael McDonald?
Yes, we did.
Do you see Mr. McDonald in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point him out and tell me what he's wearing?
He is the gentleman sitting to my left in the middle of the other two with a white shirt on and a striped colored top.
Is he wearing a jacket or not?
No.
Does the record reflect the identification of the defendant, Your Honor?
It also reflected.
And what was the defendant's job at Logistics?
I can't remember the exact title, but it was systems administrator. I called him our go-to IT guru help desk individual, so yes.
When you say that the go-to IT guy, does that mean he helped pretty much everybody with their technical difficulties?
Yes, including myself, yes.
Let me ask you, you said 60 employees. How many of those individuals have a phone and or computer that's specific to them?
Everyone would have a phone and a computer, yes, all of the desks.
Okay.
Offices.
So what would some of the defendant's responsibilities be?
Now, there was two additional people who were there as well, so he would be responsible for, let's say, if your computer is down or setting up a new computer for you, you needed a new telephone, he would set that up. I used him because I would say I'm technology challenged. He would come in and help me with my computer, so he would do that for our entire staff.
How often would you see the defendant?
I saw him every day, Monday through Friday, when he was at work, and I was at work, yes.
And let me ask you, was he a subcontractor that you had contracted out from another company?
No, he was our employee. He was officially hired October of 2017 as an employee.
Okay. Was he a salaried employee?
Yes, salaried employee.
You just mentioned October 2017. Do you recall then when his employment with you ended?
Originally, he left in April, and then he came back. Our CTO hired him back, and I think we laid off again in August of 2018.
So, sorry, you said April. You meant April 2018?
April 2018, and then he was gone for a little while. Then he was back again, I do believe, in May, and then he left again. We laid off, I do believe it was August, July or August.
And were those layoffs just due to cutbacks?
Just cutbacks, yes.
Of no fault of his?
No,
his-
no.
okay. From October 2017 to April 2018, was there any break in his employment?
No.
And you said you saw him nearly every day, if not every day.
Once I started there, January of 2018, yes.
Okay. And as you worked on your computer or your phone or whatever you needed help, would you chat?
Yes, we had numerous conversations, yes.
Okay. Would you say you had a good relationship with Michael McDonald?
I would say yes, we did. I like Michael, he was a very nice man, so yes.
In your capacity as the vice president, you said part of your duties included recruitment, acquisition, hiring, and specifically payroll. Do you have access to the records that would include employment records?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay.
100%.
Were you asked at one point to retrieve and provide a copy of the employment records for Michael McDonald?
Yes, I was.
Showing defense counsel proposed exhibit 10.
Thank you, sir.
Permission to approach, Aaron?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as proposed exhibit 10. You recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
This is the Avitas Group application that all candidates complete one line. And the remaining, some of the documents in here are some of the information, I do believe. Oh, and their paychecks.
And who are those for?
Michael McDonald.
Okay. And do you recognize these as the documents that you were asked to obtain in relationship to the case you're reported today? Does it appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the records that are kept in the course of business at Adidas and/or Logistics?
Yes, it is.
Move to admit 11, Your Honor.
No objection?
No objection.
I'll be admitted.
So, showing you now what's been admitted as 10, you've said that this is Michael McDonald's records. Do we see on there the date that he was hired?
Yes, we do. Hire date 10/23/2017.
And on that same page, does it show what the pay rate is for the person who these records belong to?
Yes, it does. Pay rate of $47,500, salary exempt employee, regular full-time.
And then you mentioned that the last dozen or so pages here are pay stubs, is that correct?
Correct.
And according to those, was the defendant paid on a monthly basis or bi-weekly or?
Semi-monthly, we're semi-monthly people.
Okay. And looking at one of those pay stubs, what is the amount he was paid every 2 weeks? I apologize.
Gross net amount, 1808. I don't have my glasses on.
So you're reading as 1808 and 19 cents?
19 cents, correct. I'm sorry, yes.
Thank you. And the one you just read, what is the pay period for those?
This would be pay period 12/6/2017 to 12/20/2017 with a pay date of 12/27/17.
Okay. And as we kind of flip through here, does it appear that, if you want to flip through some of those pages, that there's a pay stub for every 2 weeks?
Each semi-monthly pay period, yep. 11/10. 11/27, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Smith. In your capacity as a kind of human relations, is that what you said it was? Human resources, and speaking and the relationship that you established with the defendant, was there social chatting involved, friendly chatting?
Yes, we talked, we talked about his children. I know he has 2 children, both names start with the letter M, but I want to say it's Melita and Mason. I could be totally wrong. With the
Challenge accepted. Michael, I give out 1 billion condiments every night, and they're almost all ranch and blue cheese. No one's ever asked me for Arby's horsey sauce. Okay, I don't work at Arby's, but that's besides the point.
only reason why I remember, because I thought, okay, they're M&M just like he is, right? Like McDonald. So we talked about the children, and he had mentioned to me that he had not seen the kids in a while, and that the judge had given him some things he needed to do, and I just kept saying, well, Michael, you need to make sure you do everything that the judge says. So that way, when you go back into her, and I remember it was a female judge, into her courtroom, that, you know, you can say, I've done ABC, you've ordered ABC, so what now? So we talked about that, yeah, 100%.
Were you aware in speaking to the defendant, did he have any other outside employment besides his employment at Logistics?
No, not that I was aware of.
Did Michael or Mr. McDonald, the defendant, ever complain to you about lack of money?
You know, I will say we talked about, I had mentioned to Michael that I had a real estate license in the state of California at one time, and I mentioned that I was looking at the real estate course here. Because Keller Williams is across the street from us, and he had talked about, either he had done the class or he was going to do the class at Keller Williams, but it was never a mention of a lack of money. I know we did talk about child support a little bit there, but, okay, Michael, I haven't received anything, so.
Brief indulgence, Your Honor. I apologize, I know you just went through this, but permission to publish, Your Honor, Exhibit 10. Showing you Exhibit 10, these are the employment records for the defendant that we just went over. You see that on the top line where it says name Michael McDonald, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And specifically, while we were up there at the bench, we looked at this page here. If you could, Ms. Smith, I know that there's a mouse in front of you, and if you move it, you'll be able to see a little, an arrow, if you want to move the mouse. Okay. Could you put the mouse over where it says pay rate on there? Okay, and what is the amount there?
$47,500.
And there's a check mark to the right. What does that indicate?
Salary,
And below, it says, please check, and it says regular full-time. What does that tell us?
that he was a full-time and salaried employee with Logistics.
Okay, and the top line gives us an original hire date. What is that date?
10/23/2017.
I'm not a fan of Chick-fil-A
There's
either.
actually a job title, which we were looking for earlier. What's the job title?
Systems Administrator.
Okay, and I know we went through some of these as well, and there's a couple dozen, but does this appear to be one of the pay stubs that we looked at?
Yes.
Okay, and again, in the bottom right-hand corner, what does that number tell us?
The net amount of $18,0818.
And what pay period is this for?
This is pay period 10/21/17 to 11/5/17.
Okay, and without going through all of these, I think up there at the bench, you looked at all of these, and these all appear to be pay stubs for the time period between October of 2017 and April of 2018?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Ross.
Ma'am, I want to understand something. He started with you in October of 17.
Correct.
So a financial affidavit in September of 17 saying that he was unemployed doesn't contradict with anything you would have known.
No, but
All right. Now, we all know keeping track of things gets to be a little tiresome. Did you actually look at these pay stubs?
yes, I did.
Did you find a couple mistakes?
There may have been one that had an odd date because I think it may have been a reversal out one there. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I don't know. Do you recall seeing?
I think so. I
It's
haven't
your
looked at
paperwork,
it. I haven't looked at them lately, so I have to
Okay.
look at it again, yes.
Is there a couple mistakes in here?
Mr. Miller, need a microphone, sir.
Micah. Is there a couple mistakes in here, ma'am?
Mistake, when you say mistakes, what do you mean?
Well, date's being wrong.
Every pay period was paid, but if there's one that has a 1900 date, that typically would say maybe a paycheck was reversed out and repaid again, but every pay date would line up.
All right, so you paid him from the 1st of January 1900. He's certainly not 119 years old, correct?
Correct.
All right, nobody thinks he's 119, no matter how much gray hair he's got, right? Sorry, Mike. The fact of the matter is, ma'am, there's mistakes here, correct?
Is it I have to see the pay stub, you guys.
May I approach?
Yes.
So if I were to sit down and read your pay stub literally, that's wrong. He's not 119 years old.
Well, if you look at the net wages, it shows negative.
Okay, so, and
So
you
that-
certainly didn't take money away from him either.
That's very true.
I can't imagine that works
That's
out.
very
That
true.
makes people very grumpy, I
That's
would think.
very true.
All right, so the answer is your pay stub is wrong, the amount's wrong, time's wrong, and you have the advantage of a computer and 60 employees, and there's still mistakes, correct?
It's a reversal check, and there is a check that constitutes what the reversal was.
All right. Now, ma'am, you started in October, did a great job for you. He came back a little later and worked with you again, correct? But there was a period of time he was not working.
Just a short period of time, correct.
All right. Now, did you see Michael every day?
Every day that I was at work and every day that he was at work, yes.
Okay, so your coworkers.
Correct.
And he was concerned about his kids, correct?
Yes, he did.
And the judge wouldn't let him see him. The other brother?
Redirect. Mr. Miller, reverse the exhibits.
The table right here. Oh. Here. Just very briefly, Ms. Smith, just so we can all understand what some of this language meant. You mentioned that one of the checks being a reversal. Can you just explain what that means?
So typically, if you are accidentally paid something that's overage, or they have to reverse something out, they have to do the reversal of the check just to show you what they're taking away to give it back to you. So that's why that check would show negative numbers next to that.
And from watching you on Cross, it appeared that you were already aware of that. You didn't get sprung on that today, correct?
No, yes.
Okay. And because there's a reversal, the ability to do a reversal, it appears that that's not regular, but something that happens in the line of payroll.
Every last one of your employers can do a reversal. If you're accidentally overpaid or if something happens, the employer, all of the payroll companies have the ability to do it and to pay you, because by law they have to, the correct amount.
Nothing further.
Any comments?
No, sir.
Questions from the jury? Raise your hand. No questions, thank you, you may step down. Dave, call your next witness.
The state calls Aaron Stanton.
Watch your step, sir. Remain standing, face the clerk of the court.
You do solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that the case is guilty of perjury?
I do.
Please be seated. Can you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
My first name is Aaron, Aaron, and the last name is Stanton, Stanton.
Sir, what is your occupation,
I'm a detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department,
and how long have you worked for the department?
approximately 25 years.
And how long have you been a detective for the department?
Approximately 18 years.
And are you assigned to a
Unsure.
particular unit or division?
I'm assigned to the Criminal Intelligence Section,
And how long have you been with the criminal intelligence section?
approximately 10 years.
And so what are your responsibilities as a detective in the intelligence section?
Within that section, I work on the Public Integrity Squad. The Public Integrity Squad is tasked primarily with conducting investigations and information gathering of public integrity type violations of criminal law. That can be anywhere from corruption and fraud related activity with political candidates, incumbent candidates, people involved in the political world. We also investigate individuals that are employed in licensed positions such as attorneys, sometimes physicians, etc. We also are tasked with conducting
Mistrial.
investigations
What?
of employees of
What?
government agencies. And then also, it kind of doesn't really fit in the box, but we're also tasked with investigations involving murder for hire. And then with that position, I'm also part of the Nevada Election Integrity Task Force, which is comprised of various local, state, and federal jurisdictional entities. And we basically look at fraud related to elections, voter intimidation, and we look at any irregularities at the poll during campaign season or during the voting season.
And so it sounds like
Wiretapping
you investigate
case.
a lot of things that
What?
are different from what we typically see detectives
What?
doing on TV. What kind of investigative techniques do you use to investigate cases?
Well, as far as gathering information for investigation, there's obviously a lot of different types of techniques. The first would be basically human sources. That's somebody is a victim of a crime, they report a crime. Another way is if somebody witnesses a crime, they're not necessarily a victim, and they report it, they come forward. Other ways are people that are aware of crime that's occurring that come forward to report that. So those are the types of like human sources. We also monitor various websites on the internet and social media pages. There's also undercover operations, surveillance operations, and there's just a wide variety of different techniques and ways that we gather information for investigations.
And so I want to turn your attention to about March 20th of 2018. Were you working in the criminal intelligence section at that time?
Yes.
And as part of that employment, did you become involved in an investigation involving an individual by the name of Michael McDonald?
Yes.
And how did you come to be investigating Mr. McDonald?
Originally, what I had seen was while I was observing a Facebook page, there was an allegation that Mr. McDonald was, that he had.
Hearsay.
I'm asking why he did what he did and how it led to
Without
investigation.
telling us what's on the page.
There was- There was allegations of Mr. McDonald not living in the area that he was filing for as a political candidate.
And so was Mr. McDonald a political candidate at that time?
He was.
Okay, for what office?
I believe it was Assembly District 20.
And why were you monitoring that Facebook page?
It's just one of several pages when there's a little bit of downtime that I monitor to see if there's any information regarding the courts or, activities, crimes involving the political realm and whatnot.
And then, so after reading this on that Facebook page, what did you do?
At that point, I obtained the filing package from the Clark County Election Department from Mr. McDonald. I reviewed that information. I also pulled court filings related to Mr. McDonald, and I believe that same day, I went and did a short surveillance on the residence that Mr. McDonald said that he was living at.
And did you determine whether or not Mr. McDonald was living in the correct, the reported district?
Eventually, yes.
And when you were reviewing, these court filings, what did you observe?
There were various court filings in the 8th Judicial District Court related to a divorce case involving Mr. McDonald. Looking through those, I observed a letter which was written by a therapist in different filings within those filings. So each date there was a different filing, and there was multiple filings of that letter within those filings.
Hold on. All right, the word is supposed to be wonder, okay? Look at what autocorrect did to poor Nan. It tried. It tried as well as McDonald's lawyers trying.
And let me back up slightly. Why were you looking at what was filed in Mr. McDonald's divorce case?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. So originally, when I was looking at the allegation of the living in the wrong district, that's one of the ways that we can ascertain where someone's living. When they file documents, specifically in a divorce case, there's mention of where they're residing, different addresses. There's filings which include addresses where they're living at. And then secondly, the day after I received the initial information, I just had also observed on a Facebook page that there was a forged letter from the counselor in these divorce court filings of Mr. McDonald's.
And what additional steps, if any, did you take in the course of your investigation?
So at that point, after finding those letters, I obtained a copy from the court of a hearing that was dated March 16th of 2018. I also contacted the therapist, Ms. Nancy Hunterson, and discussed with her whether or not she recognized the letters that were in the filings.
Did you show her copies of these letters?
I did. I had two different copies of the letters that I had found. One was filed a couple times, and then there was another version of the letter which had an extra sentence added onto it, and I did show her both versions of those letters.
And did you meet with anyone who worked in family court regarding how the documents were filed?
I did.
And tell me about that.
So I met with Christina O'Connor. She is the administrator over the clerk's office of the Judicial District Court down in the Denver Division. She, or actually I asked her if she could tell me when and where these particular filings were done, and if they were done in person or if they were done electronically.
And did you meet with anyone from the Marshal Service?
I did. I met with Sergeant Sagowski, and I met with Sergeant Spies, and talked to both of them about my investigation.
And why did you want to meet with them?
So specifically, I talked to Mr. Spies, or Sergeant Spies, regarding he had observed Mr. McDonald in the clerk's office during one of the days of the filings. And then same thing with Sergeant Sagowski. There was an observation that he made of Mr. McDonald here in the RJC during the date of one of the other filings that contained the letter with the extra sentence.
And Your Honor, may I approach to retrieve some exhibits?
Yes.
So Detective, I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to publish some already admitted documents and ask you about the court filings that you were referring to. You should see them on the screen. So first, I'm publishing what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 2. Okay, and can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize what we're looking at here?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
That is one of the documents that was filed by Mr. McDonald on September 27th of 2017 that I observed in the family court case.
Okay. And if we move down here, we see this section has been blacked out, and am I correct that this wasn't blacked out when you were looking at it?
That's correct.
Okay. And now I'm going several pages in the same exhibit. And do you recognize what we're looking at here?
I do.
And what is this?
This is the letter from Ms. Hunterson that I was describing before that was contained within this filing.
And is this one of the letters that you showed Ms. Hunterton when you met with her?
It was. Minus the redaction.
And meaning this and this right here?
Correct.
And I'm turning to the last page of the same exhibit. Do you recognize what we're looking at here?
I do.
And what is that?
At the end of the filing, it's a motion opposition fee information sheet that's filled out and also filed with the filing.
Okay. And do you recognize the wording at the bottom?
Yes.
And now publishing what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 3, looking at the first page. Do you recognize what we're looking at here?
I do.
And so what are we looking at here?
This is another one of the filings that was done by Mr. McDonald, and this one was on December 4th of 2017.
And did you, when you met with Christina O'Connor, did you discuss how the documents were filed?
Yes.
Okay. And in the course of your investigation, did you come to a belief as to how this document was filed?
Yes.
And how was that?
That was in person.
In what building?
I believe that one was here in the Regional Justice Center.
Okay. And do you know the room number of where that would have been filed?
The District Court Clerk's office is here on the 3rd floor, room 3317.
And I'm going to go several pages in on the same exhibit. And do you recognize what we're looking at here?
I do.
And what is it?
This is the altered version of the letter from Ms. Hunterton that had the extra sentence added at the end of the paragraph.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in slightly so we can see the middle of the letter a bit better. Okay. And then, so is this the other letter that you showed to Ms. Hunterton when you met with her?
It is.
Okay. And you mentioned an added sentence. Can you, if you touch your screen, can you indicate the sentence you're referring to?
It's the,
Actually, if you use
sorry.
the mouse. And
this last sentence.
could you read that sentence out loud, please?
I do not believe Mr. McDonald is a harm to his children or himself.
And now I'm showing what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 4. Could you hit the trash can icon? And so now for the record, I'm publishing State's Exhibit 4. And Detective, do you recognize what we're looking at here?
Yes.
And what is it that we're looking at?
This is one of the additional filings that was done in the divorce case with Mr. McDonald, and it was filed on December 20th of 2017.
And I'm going to go a few pages in on the same document. Okay. And now on the same exhibit, a few pages in, what are we looking at here?
Again, this is the same letter that was written by Ms. Hunterton regarding Mr. McDonald, and this did not have the additional sentence at the end, so this would have been an unaltered version of the letter.
So is this similar to, so is this the same letter that I showed you in the first version?
Yes.
So the first letter I showed you that was in the September 27 filing had an unaltered letter, is that right?
Correct.
And then the December 4th filing had a letter with an additional sentence, is that right?
Correct.
And now we're looking at this, and is this the same as the one contained in the September filing?
It is.
And now publishing State's Exhibit 5. And what are we looking at here?
This is another one of the filings that I observed in the divorce case of Mr. McDonald. It was filed on March 13th of 2018 and also contained the letter, the altered letter.
And what, is this the title of the document here?
Yes, it's the exhibit list.
And I'm going to go in a few pages, still same exhibit. I'll zoom in. And the letter you were just referring to?
Yes,
Okay. And does this have the additional sentence you've been talking about?
it does.
Is that here?
Yes, it is.
And now publishing what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 6. And what are we looking at here?
Again, this is another filing in the case of Mr. McDonald. This one was filed on March 21st of 2018.
And going several pages in on the same exhibit. And what are we looking at here?
This letter was contained in this filing. This is again the letter from Ms. Hunterton. This would be the altered version with the extra sentence.
And in the course of your investigation, did you come into contact with Mr. Michael McDonald?
I did.
Do you see him here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you please point at him and describe what he's wearing?
It's the gentleman in the white shirt sitting to Mr. Mueller's right.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant. And other than Mr. McDonald himself, in the course of your investigation, did you ever meet with any of the parties or attorneys involved in Mr. McDonald's family court case?
No.
Did you ever meet with any of the judges handling Mr. McDonald's family court case?
No.
And so in the course of your investigation, did you execute a search warrant?
Yes.
And for what location?
That would have been at 5603 Southeastern Las Vegas, Park County, Nevada.
And why that location?
That was Mr. McDonald's residence.
And was that for just the home, or was there also a vehicle?
It was for the residence as well as Mr. McDonald's vehicle, yes.
And could you describe the procedure you went through in this case to obtain the search warrant?
Sure. So basically what a search warrant is laying out the investigation that you've done so far. It's in a written form. It is basically the facts of the investigation. It explains why you believe that certain evidence related to that investigation will be located in a certain location. And once you write all that out, you provide it to the district attorney's office, who reviews it, and then eventually to a judge who approves it or disapproves it.
So that's the procedure you followed in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Is that pretty standard from case to case?
Yes.
Okay. And what types of items were you seeking to obtain via the search warrant?
So in this search warrant, I was looking for either version of the letter from Ms. Hunterton. I was looking for cell phones or a tablet that could be used to take a photograph of the letter, and then also for computers or computer items which could be used to store the item, or that could be used to do the addition of the sentence, basically.
And did you yourself serve the search warrant?
Yes,
And when did you do that?
that was on April 11th of 2018.
And could you describe the process you went in serving and executing the search warrant?
Sure. So myself and my partner at the time, Detective Gregory, went up to the front door. The residence had two different doors. We went to the door that of the section of the residence where Mr. McDonald was living. We knocked on the door a few times, got no answer. We actually just stepped around the corner of the house and waited for a few minutes. Mr. McDonald exited the residence. I asked him if he was Mr. McDonald. He told me no. And then I identified myself as a detective with Metro Police and introduced my partner and asked if we could speak with him for a few minutes. He asked us what it was regarding. I told him it was regarding the letter from his counselor that was filed in his family court case. And then we continued to talk out front for a period of time, and then at that point, I advised him that we were in possession of a search warrant, and basically told him we wanted to do this as low-key as possible. We were all wearing plain clothes. I said, you know, you're more than welcome to stay, you're more than welcome to go if you want, it's up to you. He decided to stay while we started the search warrant. And so we went in, we cleared the area, made sure there was nobody else in there, no weapons, anything that would be an officer safety issue. After we did that, we moved over to the driveway next door where Mr. McDonald's vehicle is located, conducted a search of the vehicle, and then moved back to the residence to continue the search of his residence.
And you stated that at first, when you asked him if he was Mr. McDonald, he stated no. At some point, did he acknowledge that he was Michael McDonald?
I don't recall that he ever really said that he was, but I think it was just, we both knew that we both knew, basically.
Okay. And you saw him come out of the residence that you searched?
Yes.
And so was the defendant taken into custody on that day?
No.
And were photos taken during the course of the search?
Yes.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
And I'm showing states proposed 13 through 27 to defense counsel. And detectives, I'm showing you what's been marked as states proposed exhibits 13 through 27. If you could just look through each one and then just be yourself and let me know when you're done.
If I had a guess, if I had to take a wild stab out of all the videos that we did of Michael McDonald so far, I would guess 20% of what we have heard and seen has anything at all to do with the children in custody.
And if you recognize states proposed 13 through 27,
I do.
and what are they?
These are photographs that were taken during the service of the search warrant at 5603 Southeastern.
The residence of Michael McDonald?
Correct.
And are these fair and accurate copies of those photos?
Yes.
And Your Honor, the state moves to admit states proposed exhibits 13 through 27.
Object?
They'll be admitted.
Permission to publish?
Yes.
So I'm publishing states exhibit 13. And Detective, what are we looking at here?
That's the residence of 5603 Southeastern, the front of the residence.
And now publishing states exhibit 14. And what are we looking at here?
The vehicle on the right, the Ford, is Mr. McDonald's vehicle, or was at the time?
Okay, is that this vehicle?
Yes,
Okay. And who are we looking at here?
that's Mr. McDonald.
And so was this vehicle searched?
Yes.
Okay. And what, if anything, was recovered from that vehicle?
There was 2 of the actual letters, or there's filings containing the letters inside the vehicle.
And now showing states exhibit 15, what are we looking at here?
That's just the interior rear seat of the vehicle.
And do you see
Hey,
something
that's
white
my
on the
car.
I do.
What are we looking at there?
That's actually a binder that was contained within the vehicle.
And did Mr. McDonald tell you anything regarding that white binder?
I don't specifically remember anything about that binder. There was an additional binder that was on the other side, which would have been the passenger side rear floorboard. And that was a white binder containing the March 13th filings, which was the exhibit list.
And showing states exhibit 16. It's a bit dark, but what are we looking at here?
That was the contents of the white binder that I was just speaking about that was on the passenger side floorboard in the rear. And that was the March 13th filing.
Okay. And is this a letter that was contained in the March 13th filing?
Yes, again, that's a copy of one of the letters from Ms. Hunterton that was altered.
And did Mr. McDonald, the defendant, make any representations to you regarding what this binder was for?
I don't recall specifically at that point, no.
And showing that states exhibit 17, what are we looking at here?
This was the desk that was set up inside the residence where Mr. McDonald was living. They had a computer and 2 monitors and a keyboard on the desk.
And I'll show you a closer up photo in a second. But what are we looking at here on this screen on the left?
So what that is, during our interview, Mr. McDonald had told us that he took a photograph of the letter with his cell phone, and when I asked him if it was still on his phone, he said that he believed that it was deleted off his phone and uploaded over to his Google Docs or to a cloud-based storage. And so I asked him at that point if he would mind showing us his Google Docs on his computer that he told us was on the computer. And he agreed. He pulled it up, and I asked him if he had any of the versions of the letters within those Google Docs. And he said that he believed that both of them were there, which eventually both of them were there, and he showed us both. So that's one of the versions of the letter that he pulled up from his Google Drive.
And to be clear, from this Google Drive, it was the defendant who brought up this document, not you.
Correct.
And now I'm publishing States Exhibit 18. What are we looking at here?
That's a close-up of the photo. Again, it's a photograph of the letter that was written by Ms. Hunterton, and it's the version that's altered with the extra sentence.
Is that the extra sentence here?
Yes.
And is this the Google Drive in the background?
Yes.
And now publishing States Exhibit 19. And what are we looking at here?
That's just another photograph of the altered letter, again, from Ms. Hunterton.
And now publishing States Exhibit 20. I'm going to zoom out. And what are we looking at here?
So that was a photograph of the letter from Ms. Hunterton, which was not altered, which did not contain the extra sentence that was located on the Google Drive by Mr. McDonald.
And it's hard to tell from my perspective because of the lighting, but in the background, is this the Google Drive of the defendant in the background?
Honestly, I can't tell from this picture, but I know that those photographs did contain that.
Okay, and Your Honor, may I approach with the same exhibit? This is exhibit 20. When you look at it up close, is that the Google Drive in the background?
Yes, it is, and you can also tell by the bar up above.
And so is it fair to say this is a different version of the letter from what we've been looking at, correct?
This is what appears to be an unaltered version of the letter.
And to be clear, this does not contain the sentence we were just looking at, correct?
Correct.
And did the defendant, Mr. McDonald, pull up this letter on the Google Drive?
He did.
Okay, now showing State's Exhibit 21. And what are we looking at here?
Again, that's the altered version of the letter from Ms. Hunterton.
And publishing State's Exhibit 22, what are we looking at here?
That's just a photograph of different documents that were in the Google Drive that Mr. McDonald pulled up the copy or the photographs of those letters from.
And now I'm showing State's Exhibit 23. Can you tell me what we're looking at here?
That's a copy of the December 4th, 2017 filing that was in Mr. McDonald's divorce case.
Okay, and where was this found?
I believe that one was located in his backpack.
And the backpack that was searched, where was that backpack located?
So originally, Mr. McDonald was wearing the backpack when we first came in contact with him. And then eventually it was removed and placed inside the residence.
And now I'm publishing State's Exhibit 24. And what are we looking at here?
That is the March 21st filing, again, in Mr. McDonald's case, or a copy of it.
And was this found during the execution of the search warrant?
Yes.
And where was it found?
That was recovered in his vehicle.
And showing State's Exhibit 25, what are we looking at here?
I remember my sister went to prison once, and while she was in prison, her daughter went to prison and was like near her. And her daughter got out of prison, and she's like, "Oh man, it's bad. She should not be in there because they are literally teaching her how to do everything that she just got busted for better, so that she won't get busted again," which she did. But yeah, you learn everything in prison.
It's hard for me to see.
Do you need me to zoom in, or is it just the brightness?
It's a photocopy or a copy of the letter from Ms. Hunterton that was altered. It appears to be in one of the filings. I can't tell which one it is.
And when you say one of the filings, would it likely have been either the March 21st or the December 4th?
Yes.
Since those were.
Hi, Siobhan.
Yes.
And now showing State's Exhibit 26, and where are we looking at here?
Again, that's another copy of the altered letter from Ms. Hunterton.
And would it presumably have been contained in one of the filings that were in the previous photos that I just showed you?
Yes.
And lastly, showing State's Exhibit 27, what are we looking at here?
So that's a photograph of Mr. McDonald holding a copy of the search warrant seal, the search warrant, and then the search warrant return.
And why was this photo taken?
So after every search warrant, we're required to leave a copy of the search warrant affidavit, or in the alternative, the search warrant seal if the affidavit is sealed. And then we complete what's called the search warrant return, which is an inventory of the items that are recovered pursuant to the search warrant that are actually seized. And we're required to leave those. And so what we do is we take a photograph of somebody in the residence with those items to prove that we actually left those items with them.
And so you mentioned a little bit about having a conversation with the defendant during the course of the search warrant. Did you speak to him regarding these letters that were filed in his family court case?
Objection of approach?
And I'll repeat my last question. During the course of the search warrant, did you speak with Mr. McDonald, the defendant, regarding letters that were filed in this court case?
Yes.
And what, if anything,
Tina,
did
it
he
is
tell you regarding these
quite
letters?
boring today.
So originally, when I told him while we were there, that it was regarding letters that were filed in his family court case, he initially told me that they were approved, that Ms. Hunterton left out some information and that she was supposed to write a new letter for him. As we got into how it was changed, I asked him several times if he had changed it or if it was changed by the office. And I was talking about the altered sentence that was added to the letter. And he would just tell me that it was added with approval. And again, I asked him if it was added by the office. I actually asked him if it was added by the secretary, and he told me that she was supposed to add it. And then we continued on with our conversation. I asked him directly if he was the one that added it. He said he didn't want to comment on it and that he would talk to Ms. Hunterton about it. He told me that he didn't believe that he committed a forgery. I asked him again if he was the one that added the sentence, because the second time, or actually it was several times in, but that I asked him. And at that time, he said he didn't want to comment because he didn't know what the statutes were.
Factual.
We talked a little bit longer. I asked him how it was added, as opposed to who added it or if he added it. I asked him if it was added by a computer program or how that extra sentence was added on there. And when I said if it was a computer program, he goes, yeah, something like that. Or he goes, that's probably what it would have been. And then eventually I asked him again, because it seemed we were just talking in circles, if he was the one that added the sentence. And he said he didn't want to comment on it because he didn't want to incriminate himself. That went around and around for several minutes. And then at that point, I told him that we had a search warrant for his residence. We stopped talking for a little bit, did the search of the vehicle, came back to the residence. Again, I told him he was free to go, or he could stay if he wanted. He stated that he wanted to stay while we were serving the search warrant. He actually asked us what he could do to help us. And so I told him specifically, I said, these are the things that we're looking for. We're looking for items that could have altered the letter. We're looking for copies of the letter. And if you can help us locate those items, that would be appreciated. He told us that he believed there could have been copies in the vehicle, which we did locate. He then, after I asked him if he took a photo of the letter, because I asked him that because it appeared to me on a lot of the copies of the filings that there was a shadow in the lower left-hand corner that appeared that it was either a tablet or a cell phone that was being used to take the picture. So I asked him about that, and he said that he did take a photograph of the letter with his cell phone. And so I asked him if he could show me his cell phone if he'd be willing to show me if that picture was on there. So we actually got his cell phone. I stood next to him. He thumbed through some.
Oh my goodness, I
photos
hope
for
so.
several minutes, and then told me that he believed that it was not on the phone anymore, that it would have been uploaded to his Google Drive, which was his cloud-based storage. And I asked him if he'd be able to pull that up on his computer, if he'd be willing to do that, and he agreed to do so. He went over to his computer, he went into his Google Drive, pulled up a variety of documents in a search box, and then entered in counselor letter to the search box, and then that pulled up the two different versions of the letter, the one that appeared to be the original without the extra sentence, as well as the second one that did have the extra sentence.
Okay. Would this one be an example?
Yes, that would be an example of the one with the extra sentence.
Okay.
So again, I asked him how that would have been altered, and he didn't give me a straight answer. We talked some more. We discussed calling Miss Hunterton to talk to her about the letter, which we eventually did on speakerphone. After that phone call, we pretty much were wrapping it up. I again asked him if he was the one that put the sentence on there. And again, he started talking in circles. And so he told me that he didn't want to insult my intelligence. And I said, wow. I said, look, I think after all this discussion and what we've looked at, that we both know that you added the sentence. And he said, I know. And then after that, we did our paperwork and pretty much left at that point.
And I'm not asking about the substance of the conversation in which Ms. Hunterton was called, but did the defendant give you approval to contact Ms. Hunterton?
Yes.
Okay, and did you put her on the speakerphone?
Yes.
Okay, and so all three of you
Nope,
were
we
there
gotta
in the
get through it to
conversation?
get to it.
And did Ms. Hunterton confirm with the defendant that he was okay with her speaking to you?
Yes.
And at any point during your conversation with the defendant, did he mention anything about his employment?
He said that he did odd jobs. He didn't say that he had a steady job.
Now I'm going to move back into the court documents in this case and publish grand jury.
Mike, I got mentally got this one. See my kids. Come on. I've done nothing.
Mike,
Just take it back.
calm down. Dude, take a deep breath.
Guys, come on.
And this was filed in March.
I really don't need jail because I miss my kids. Come on. Assistance in 15 Charlie. 15 Charlie. Stop. Come on,
Is
please.
there anything else?
Please, I don't want
to.
You got it? Please. Let's just hold him. Come on.
Mike, stop fighting with the guys.
I'm gonna taser her.
Mike, stop fighting with the. I can't fight there helping with cuffs on you. Don't fight with them.
I'm gonna
Don't
tase
fight.
you.
Don't fight with them. With the handcuffs on. Mike, put the fucking handcuffs on. Or I'll put them on myself.
Great, come on.
I'm on your side, Mike, but you're out of line.
This is ridiculous. There was no order saying I can't see my kids. See you later.
Mike, just relax.
And now we're still in Exhibit 5. You mentioned the financial disclosure form.
Hello, new
Is that what we're looking
person.
at here?
Thank you, new
Yeah,
person.
yes.
And what are we looking at in the top left corner here?
So the top corner basically lists the name of the subject who's filing the financial disclosure form, the address that they put, their phone number, as well as their email address.
And what's the case in which this was filed?
It's in the 8th Judicial District Court, and it's D as in David, 15-518905 dash D as in David.
And did you see the section that says personal information?
Yes.
And what's the name listed there?
Michael L. McDonald,
And the date of birth?
10/22.
I do not know. the verdict of this trial going on. I do not know. I do not want to know.
And this is the financial disclosure form you mentioned struck your attention, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And why did it attract your attention?
So initially, it didn't really mean much to me other than the address that was in the top left-hand corner. Eventually, I became aware that Mr. McDonald did have full-time employment, so it struck my attention eventually because once I found out that he actually had full-time employment, I knew that was in contradiction of what was filled out on this financial disclosure form.
And we're now looking at page 2 of the financial disclosure form. Do you see the section that says annual salary?
Yes.
And what is it telling us there?
It says for annual income it's 0 and gross monthly income is 0.
And then at the bottom of the same page.
It is. Contempt of court is criminal, so he could go to jail.
The 2 numbers at the bottom of the page, what are they telling us there?
So it basically is indicating that $800 a month income is being made.
Now we're on page 7 of the financial disclosure form. And what are we looking at here?
That's basically the certification page. It has some information about whether or not they owe their attorney money or if there's a credit, and then also it is the section that they affirm under penalty of perjury that they're completing this correctly.
Okay. And are you referring here to the section underneath the word important?
Yes.
Okay. See this paragraph that begins, I swear,
Yes.
and ends with the word court?
Yes.
Okay, can you read that for me?
I swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that I have read and followed all instructions in completing this financial disclosure form. I understand that by my signature, I guarantee the truthfulness of the information on this form. I also understand that if I knowingly make false statements, I may be subject to punishment, including contempt of court.
And then what are we looking at at the bottom of this page?
There's a signature line and a date,
What's the date?
3/13 of 18.
Okay. And the signature, would you agree, is somewhat illegible?
Yes,
Okay. But does it at least look like there's an M in there?
it does.
And then page 8 of this document, what are we looking at here?
That's a certificate of service page, basically stating that they served the opposing party in the suit with that material.
And is there a signature on this as well?
Yes,
Does it look like the same signature as on the previous page?
somewhat.
Your Honor, may I approach to retrieve an exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, that exhibit 10, please. And Detective, in the course of your investigation, you mentioned discovering information about the defendant's employment. Did you request any records in the course of your investigation regarding his employment?
I did.
Okay, from whom?
From Lisa Smith at Procedural.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness with exhibit 10? So I'm showing you exhibit 10. It's already been admitted. I just want you to take a look at that and just tell me if those are the same records that you obtained from Lisa Smith at Progistics. going to kind of rewind back to something you said earlier in your testimony. Did you testify that you obtained some video footage regarding a court proceeding in this case?
I did.
Okay. What specifically did you obtain?
I obtained a recording of the hearing in Mr. McDonald's case. It was dated March 16th of 2018.
And Your Honor, may I have permission to publish State's Exhibit 7? It's already admitted.
Yes.
I have a Gwyneth Paltrow one.
This is probably a good time to take a recess. During this recess, you're admonished do not talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected with the trial, or read, watch, or listen in a report of or commentary on the trial, or any person connected with this trial by any medium of information, including without limitation newspapers, television, radio, or internet. Do not form or express any opinion on any subject connected with this trial until the case is finally submitted to you. It'll take 10 minutes.
Please leave your notebooks and pens, rise for the jury.
How much longer do you think?
The state does not have much time left, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
An hour?
I would think more than an hour.
Well, probably not finished, right?
I would think.
And I would, the detective actually needs to leave at 5.
I'm actually covered. I'm good for as long as you need me right now.
1, 2, 5, 6. So who is tomorrow?
Witnesses?
Yeah.
The state anticipates calling one witness tomorrow morning. Marshall Willick, our expert.
Okay.
I don't think we'll make full finish the trial tomorrow, even
You're
generally.
talking, when you say finish, you're not talking closings, right? Are you? Really? So, but we haven't even gone over, and we can't go over the jury instruction. Maybe we can do it at 11 or 12 o'clock. Okay.
So we'll start at 9 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think we can do that.
Well, we got to finish up with him and Marshall.
And Your Honor received the state's proposed jury
Yes.
instructions.
Yes. Do you have a set?
Not yet, but we'll have some tomorrow.
We absolutely, and you guys will have to meet and go over the verdict form, go over jury instructions that you agree on, and then ones you don't agree on. So we don't have to go through ones you have no objections to. Standard ones. Okay, bring them in. Anything else?
Clear.
your appearances for the record.
The court has a few comments before we begin.
We are on the record in the matter, case D-505.
You guys either agree or I order.
Big thank you to our Nevada judges. Big, big, big thank you.
Please rise for adjournment.
Okay, please be seated. Parties acknowledged presence and adjourned.
Yes, Your Honor.
Acknowledged presence.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Go ahead, continue. You're still under oath.
And Detective, I think we have worked out the technical difficulties, so we're going to show you some video.
This is your motion. You have the burden. You have to tell me things.
And Detective, is this the video you obtained from the March 16th, 2018 hearing in the course of your investigation?
It is.
Okay. All right. And this has already been admitted as State's Exhibit 7. It's 3 different clips, and we're just going to play all of them.
So yeah, I would like to. Okay, so you need to raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to make in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Hold on. Is that a yes, Mr. McDonald?
Yes, Judge.
You have 5 minutes.
Here, I will.
Back on the record, everybody have a seat. Counsel, you can certainly call your witnesses and call Mr. McDonald. What's your preference? Who would you like to call first?
Mr. McDonald.
Mr. McDonald, come on up to the witness stand. I'm going to remind you that you're under oath. You can leave all your notes and paperwork there. Go ahead, counsel. We're back on the record. Thank you, counsel, Mr. McDonald, for giving me a moment to review some documents. Thank you, Mr. McDonald, for giving me a moment to review some documents. Come on up back to the witness stand. I'm going to ask you to put your phone away. Counsel, continue.
Where are you currently living?
Close to UMLB.
Can you tell me your address?
I'd prefer not to, as I don't want to be stalked or
You don't want to be stalked?
Judge, I've been being stalked recently as per my evidence, and I would not like to disclose my address.
Okay.
You're not currently living at 58.
Correct.
So that's the address you have listed on your most recent financial disclosure, correct?
I sometimes use it as a mailing address.
And whose address is that?
Stepdad.
Are you currently working?
I do odd jobs currently.
What type of odd jobs do you do?
Depends. Some computer stuff, some real estate stuff, cleaning up things like.
Okay, and how much do you get paid for those odd jobs?
I try to make it. I do as much as I can to make like $800 to pay my bills, like at least $800 a month.
Okay, and you realize that you've listed on your financial disclosure that you make $0, correct?
I believe it's true.
Do you have a copy of your financial disclosures that you filed?
I don't think I do. I think it's in the exhibit list. It might be over there. So I'm also a student right now and doing my best to get work as I tried to get rehired at my old job and was unable to.
You paying for school?
I'm going for financial aid and scholarships.
You're submitting paperwork for that, or you already have that?
I submitted for financial aid, yes.
But you're not currently receiving it?
I got approved. I didn't get approved for last semester, but I should be getting approved for this upcoming semester.
So you went to school last semester?
Yeah.
How did you pay for school last semester?
Through financial aid. I think I still owe them some money on that, so we're still waiting on funds for that.
When did you start and you're attending school at UNLV? Is that correct?
Yeah.
When did you start attending school there?
It's the winter semester of 2017.
Isn't that semester still going?
No, it's spring semester.
And on your financial disclosure, despite listing that you make $0, you claim $800 in business expenses, correct?
Maybe I filled it out inappropriately. That 800 is around what I'm currently going for each month. I'm doing my best to earn it.
Okay, because you have on your business expenses, you have a car and truck being used for business that you spend $100 a month on.
That's a gas charge, I think, if I recall.
For insurance, $100. For mortgage or rent, $550.
Yeah.
Are you renting out an office space?
It's zone commercial and real estate and residential.
So you're living there?
Possibly, yeah.
And utilities of $50, correct?
That's part of the 550. Yeah.
So you have. So you list here that your average gross income from self-employment or business is $800, correct?
It fluctuates,
And then
yes.
$750 in business expenses. Okay. And then you also filled out the personal expense schedule. And you have a total monthly expenses of $1,050.
Yeah, so I also have a rental contract where I can have reduced rent for doing different jobs around. It's my friend's house, so.
Okay, so is that a business address or is that a lease? So you're paying $550 for rent on a business and $500 for
No,
rent on an apartment?
it's a commercial and residential place. It's a big place that I have. Also have beds for my kids. I have everything in place for them as well. They come over there.
Okay, but if you're, as you say here, if you're making $0 a month.
I didn't state that, but.
I'm going to have you, you don't have a copy of your financial disclosure? I'll have you.
Yes. When we watched this trial, he committed 2 crimes. The first one was he lied on his financial documents. All right? So that's what the state is proving here. The second one was that he forged that letter, and they'll get to that one, I'm sure.
You are, can you just review that real quick and then I'll ask you some questions? Does that appear to be your financial disclosure?
Appears to be.
Is that your signature on the back page?
I believe so.
Is that your handwriting with your name at the top of the front page?
I believe so.
Okay, and if you look on the second page, what does it state for your annual income? Up towards the top.
Year-to-date income, is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I filled that out. It wasn't.
Does it have zeros written?
Oh, I think it's question mark because I don't know exactly how much it was.
So those aren't zeros.
I was unemployed for
that category.
Oh, this year, 2018. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to put there.
The record speaks for itself, counsel. I can see the financial disclosure form that he filed with the court that says.
I think the first charge back that we saw that he was in custody was violation of protection order.
Gross monthly income, 0.
Okay, so that I might have divided by 12.
0, 0, 0,
Yeah,
0 divided by 12, 0.
I might have put that.
Okay, next question.
And Detective, was that a portion of the video that you obtained and watched in the course of your investigation?
It was.
And I wanted to clarify something I asked you earlier, because I asked if you had ever met with any of the parties or attorneys or judges involved in the defendant's family court case. And to be clear, did you ever, in the course of your investigation, meet with defendant Michael McDonald's ex-wife?
No.
Have you ever met her?
No.
Have you ever spoken to her?
No.
And I want to ask a question, backing up to something you mentioned, that when you reviewed the letters in this case that were filed in the family court case, I believe you testified that you thought they looked like they'd been, like what was filed was a photo taken of the letters?
Correct.
Okay. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you testified that you saw a shadow on the filings that made you think that?
In the bottom left-hand corner, there's kind of a rectangular object which appears to be some kind of a shadow effect.
So I'm going to show you, I'm going to publish a State's Exhibit 5 and turn a few pages into that same exhibit. And so are we looking at the letter here?
Yes.
Okay. And this area here, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, this is actually a photocopy, so it's not as clear as an actual photograph that I've seen of it. But it much clearly indicates, it really indicates it's a shadow. This it's kind of hard to tell in the photocopy, it just looks like a black spot.
Okay. And when you said photos, do you mean some of the photos that were obtained during the execution of the search warrant?
No, one of the filings was actually a clear photograph.
Okay. Do you recall the date on that filing? It's okay if you don't.
I don't.
Of course, brief indulgence.
It was a comment.
There's no question pending.
It's sustained.
So I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 3. And is this also a photocopy?
Yes.
So now publishing states exhibit 2. Okay. Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. And this area here, is this the shadow you were talking about?
Correct.
Okay. And why did this make you think that it was a photo?
It appears, I mean, you can see the background of behind the letter, and then also the shadow appeared to me to be as if the photo was being taken by a phone or a tablet, and the lighting was behind, so it cast a shadow onto the actual document that was being photographed.
Court's brief involvement. I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examine.
Detective, how many years have you been with the Metropolitan Police Department?
25 years.
25 years. And you've had a variety of assignments, correct?
Correct.
And I suspect you've come to learn a fair bit of the law, at least criminal law, over your course of your assignments, correct?
Sure.
Sir, what does the word fraud mean to you?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
He's a 25-year detective.
Counsel, I'm sustaining the objection. This is not allowed.
All right, sir. Let me ask you a question. Let's start from the beginning. You got a tip on social media. Okay? What social media did you get a tip on?
Facebook.
Facebook. And was it the Nevada Court Watchers Facebook page?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Do you know who moderates Nevada Facebook or Nevada Court Watchers?
Not specifically, no.
Not specifically.
Hi,
That sounded awful evasive. Who moderates the Nevada Court Watchers Facebook page?
I didn't mean to be evasive with my answer. What I'm saying is I've never seen any documentation of who moderates it, or if there's more than one person.
Who do you believe moderates the Nevada Court Watchers Facebook?
I know there's one person that appears to be running things.
And who is that, sir?
Mark DiCiero.
Mark DiCiero. And are you familiar with the name Marshall Willick?
Yes.
And does he in fact also manipulate or contribute extensively to Nevada Court Watchers?
I don't know the answer to that.
Now, sir, isn't it a little dangerous for you to start taking anonymous tips from a group that has a clear agenda?
No, we take anonymous tips all the time, and that's why we corroborate the information.
Okay, well, let's go through this. You're on a group that you know has a kind of agenda, sort of political edge to it, and you're watching their website or their Facebook feed. And somebody says, hey, Michael McDonald's running for office and he doesn't live in the district. Correct?
I'm sorry, was there a question?
Was that exactly how this whole thing came to light?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're not at the Secretary of State's office, correct?
Correct.
You don't liaison with the people who actually run the elections, the registrar of voters?
No, that's incorrect.
Are you in work for the Secretary of State?
No, but we're part of a task force with them.
Task force with them. Okay. So, when someone says maybe the candidate doesn't live where they say they do, did you go pull the filings to see where he said he lived?
Yes.
And did you in fact go down and surveil his location?
Yes.
And did you in fact see him coming and going from the location he listed?
Over a period of time, yes.
Okay. And you weren't satisfied that he lived there anymore? What happened? The investigation was started, you saw him coming and going out of the residence. What more was needed to be investigated?
I'm unclear in your question.
Well, no, I'm very unclear as well, so let's see if I can rephrase this. You got asked by somebody at Nevada Court Watchers, somebody named DiCiero, an anonymous tip to investigate where Mr. McDonald lives.
Objection, misstating testimony.
All right, you took an anonymous tip from somebody that he didn't live where he's supposed to?
There was a posting on the site that that was the case, yes.
Who posted it on the site?
I don't know.
You don't know. So it's an anonymous tip,
Yes.
okay? Now, anonymous tips are very dangerous in police work, correct?
No?
Sometimes they can be useful, sometimes people have agendas, correct?
Correct.
All right? So, you get an anonymous tip. What do you do to verify?
As I testified before, I pulled his Secretary of State, or excuse me, the filings from the Clark County Elections Department to look at the package. One of the items that stood out to me is that on the same day, March 13th, that he filed a Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles.
Sure.
In,
If I could stop you, I asked you very specifically.
Yeah.
You pull the Secretary of State filings address.
I'm answering your questions.
All right, then what are you doing over at the DMV suddenly?
I'm explaining to you what was in the package that I pulled.
What package did you pull from whom?
I said I pulled the election package from the Clark County Election Department.
Okay.
And within that filing of the documents that Mr. McDonald filed when he filed for his candidacy, there was a Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles interim DMV driver's license showing that on March 13th of 2018, he changed his address to 5603 Southeastern, and that was the same day that he actually filed for candidacy. So that was concerning to me that he's changing his address the same day that he's filing for candidacy.
And did he in fact live at 5063 Southeastern?
Eventually, I determined that he did, yes.
Okay. So why didn't the investigation end there?
At that time, we had already had...
If I could, before, okay, you found out
The
506.
objection badgering, you asked a question.
I'm not badgering, I'm trying, not
Counsel,
getting an
let
answer.
him answer the question.
All right,
You
sir.
ask a question, go ahead and answer.
He says he lives at 5063 Southeastern. You go to 5063 Southeastern, you conduct surveillance, and you see that he's coming and going out of 5063 Southeastern. What more needs to be investigated?
So first of all, it's 5603 Southeastern. But, so the day that I actually obtained that original information, it was the very next day that I obtained the information regarding the filing of the letters, which I observed.
Stop, right there. I obtained information. Obtained information. Who specifically gave you information regarding Mr. McDonald's divorce?
I'm talking about when I pulled the filings from family court and I observed the letters. But the next day, there was another posting on the same Facebook site that indicated that there was a forged letter that had been filed in Mr. McDonald's divorce case.
All right, so somebody is feeding you information through a Facebook page called Nevada Court Watchers.
Objection, mischaracterizing
All right,
testimony.
who gave you the information the second time?
I don't know.
All right, so let me go through here for a moment. You were given information he doesn't live there. You went over there and found out that he did. Then you're given information that there's a false filing in his family court case, correct?
I think you're mischaracterizing the timeline of, you're saying that I found out that he lived there the same day, and then I found out this information. It's not correct. I didn't determine that he lived there for a good several weeks while I was knee-deep into this whole investigation involving all of these aspects.
Sir, let me ask you a question. You went over and spoke with Ms. Hunterton, correct?
Yes.
She confirmed for you that she met with Mr. McDonald. She was just counseling him.
Correct.
That he had been there routinely, correct?
No.
We got her attendance sheets. He was routinely over at her house.
Okay, that's not what she told me, but
Okay. That Mr. McDonald had asked her for a letter, and you agree she said that?
Are you talking about the very first time I met with her?
Sure, I've got it.
I know what you, I'm trying to understand what you're talking about so I can answer your question, but you're being kind of vague with the
And
questions.
I have to object, these questions are calling for hearsay.
They're not hearsay questions, it's a very simple.
Ask a question.
Sir, you went over, you suspected he didn't live at the address. And then who directed you to open up an investigation into his family court file?
Nobody directed me.
Nobody directed you. How many other people have you gone over and just pulled their divorce pleadings? I'm going through a divorce. Are you looking at my pleadings?
Quite a bit. I pulled court filings from a lot of different investigations, yes.
Okay, so you pull court pleadings. Now, who directs you to, detective?
Nobody. It's
Does he let the sheriff tell you to investigate?
Objection, badgering, he has to let the witness answer the
Sustained
question.
counsel.
Who directs you to investigate?
Nobody. I conduct investigative steps on my own investigations.
Okay. Now, how many of the people that were running for state assembly did you investigate last cycle?
None from the state assembly.
All right. Now, let me ask you a question, detective. You pulled his divorce pleadings. Now, you found out he lives where he says he lives, and he pulled his divorce pleadings. Now what? Why are you investigating his divorce pleadings?
That was part of the entire investigation.
And this was the investigation begun at the behest of the Nevada Court Watch at the Anonymous Post.
It wasn't at the behest of anybody. It was information that I viewed, and I started it.
Okay, so all I have to do is anonymously post, and you'll start looking into something.
If I see it and it's under my purview, then most likely, yes.
All right, sir. Now, Ms. Hunterton, did you go over and talk with her?
Yes.
All right. You went and pulled these documents, correct?
Correct.
Now, I'm going to go through and I want to try to stand and ask us some time on. How long has this divorce been going on?
Several years.
Several years. How many different sets of documents have been filed in this divorce proceeding?
I don't know.
All right. Did you go down to the divorce proceeding and pull up every single piece of paper?
No.
No. Now, you watched a few moments ago while Mr. McDonald, who did not have a lawyer, was getting badgered by a lawyer about his financial disclosure, correct?
Watch the video, yes.
I want to
All
see
right.
the video.
Now, did you actually go to see if they were talking about the same financial disclosure forms that we're talking about today?
I'm unclear. Did I go
Did you
where
go-
to see?
Well, yes, sir. Mr. McDonald was hired, was laid off, was hired, was laid off. There's going to have to have been a number of financial disclosure forms if they were properly being kept up to speed.
Well, the financial disclosure form that was being talked about in the video is clearly the one that was filed by Mr. McDonald on the
Clearly.
proceeding.
How do you reach that conclusion, sir?
Because they were reviewing it on the video, and you can follow along with the document as they're talking about it on the video.
All right, now let me go through some of your basics here, sir. You attached to your search warrant a financial affidavit from the 26th of September 17. You remember that?
No.
Okay. Counsel, this is from your discovery. May I approach?
Yes.
We finally got to something good, and it's over. It's been 2 hours. All right, guys, we got past the boring stuff. Tomorrow when we pick up, we get some good stuff. We'll get some good stuff because he's being an ass questioning this cop. I'm sure this cop will provide him with reality checks, right? So, it's going to pop us right over to OJ if you want to stay and watch OJ. If not, I will see you later, guys. Have a great day. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Mods. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.
Got these lights that goes digital dreams through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Kathy's life.